back to the Gridiron Goons. I'm your host, Brandon. I'm with the Preacher.
What up?
I'm with the Sean O'Mac.
Hello.
We're trying something different with the camera if you're watching on YouTube. We tried to just move to a cell phone. Maybe the battery would last longer than your camera. All that kind of jazz. We're going to see what happens. If it looks like shit, we'll go back. We're trying something, all right? Greatness just doesn't happen overnight. You know what I mean? We've been doing this for over 60 episodes. We're still not millionaires. That's fine.
Hey.
Okay?
We'll get there eventually, right?
Everything comes with time.
It does.
Send this to Pat McAfee. Anyway, what we're doing today is we are going in depth on the rookies that are about to enter the league via the draft. This is not a mock draft. These are our rankings of key rookies entering this draft. So, with that being said, we're going to run it, QB, running back, wide out, hit some O-line, hit some tight end, whatever we're kind of feeling here. We all got separate categories, different positions to cover. I didn't do my homework as well as I should have, but I had a rough go of how I wanted my edge rushers and my running backs, because I had both D-line and O-line. So my O-line thing, I don't think me having my own hard copy list would make that big of a difference for the average listener.
Well, yeah, and for the average listener, you're not drafting offensive line and defensive line in a fantasy
Right,
league.
for a fantasy aspect, it's worthless.
Yeah.
But for your team, you're going to want something. I'm just going to use the NFL's ranking list of the D tackle position and then all the offensive line. I did put in order how I want my edge rushers and my running backs. Preacher did. What would you have?
Quarterbacks, linebackers, and safeties.
Okay.
Oh,
Sean,
wow.
you had what?
Wideouts, tight ends, and corners.
Oh yeah. Oh, you get the. Yeah, I forgot. We're gonna let you talk about Travis Hunter twice. Hey man, is what it is.
Do we really think he's going to play both
Yes.
positions?
Yes.
Yeah, he's gonna go. You know what? That's for next week.
Oh, yeah, our mock draft.
And there's a team trading up with Cleveland to get him.
Oh,
No.
Yep.
no.
Right here. Yep.
Well,
Yep.
Okay. Well, I guess.
whoa.
Jesus.
Whoa.
I guess that's for next week. as it shows.
Our mock draft.
So you know what? Why don't you kick us off, Preach? Let's hear about some QBs.
Yeah, man.
It's not a real strong class, but I would still like to see your list.
You say it's not. It is not. It's definitely not as strong as we've seen in previous years, but I still think there's a lot of talent to be had. Not clear-cut number one pick talents out there for every guy, but it's still pretty solid. I think you're going to get a pretty solid quarterback. Hi, Harper, with the third through fifth player in my list. But obviously, number one is Cam Ward. While you have said about his concerns with his arrogance and kind of all that, dude, the guy's a stud, though. He is 223, 6'2", and he ran a 4.87 40. And this past year, he played in 13 games. He completed 305 of his 454 attempts for a 67.2 completion rating and 4,313 yards and 39 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. So he's a stud. I think he's going to go pretty high, probably number one to the Titans. They definitely need a quarterback. I think it's honestly, I think it's pretty already almost set in stone.
I would say
pretty
it's pretty
much.
much solid because they had private workouts set up with Shador and someone else that's in my mind, and Tennessee went ahead and canceled their workouts. So that pretty much summed it up.
Yeah.
And
They like what they saw.
Right. And I think the best thing to see progression now, he went to obviously Miami for his last year. Definitely improved. He was only about a 3,200 yard passer in 2022. 2023 was a 3,700 yard passer. So, jumping up to that 4,300 yards for the season, you like to see that progression. Obviously, talent helped that as well. So that's number one. Number two on my list is Shedeur. I believe people have Shedeur up there because of his name. And so, you know what? I'm going to agree that Shedeur may not be the second best in the draft for a holistic perspective. But if I'm following the trends of what the NFL believes, more or less he would be the number two guy. He's 4,100 yards last season. He did have 10 interceptions, so he could be a Jameis Winston 2.0 concerns there. He's a 73% completion rating guy, so you're getting a quarterback, but you're also getting a run threat, and so.
Yeah.
He got his speed from his mom. He said that, not me.
Kuiper's 4.0 come out yesterday, and he had him falling all the way to the 9th spot.
Do you
to
have-
the Saints?
Did you pay for that? Did you pay for that? ESPN put that behind the paywall.
Sean!
What?
Hell yeah!
That big spending baller over there.
Damn, where do I get your money at?
The refinery.
He said my brother worked in the oil refinery for years.
Number three.
I'm just saying, he's
How did you
slipping.
get that up? This is cool. How
Yeah.
do I get that on my phone?
PFF.
I got PFF.
Oh.
Hold on, people.
Oh.
He's doing some cool shit.
Skateboard. Then view whatever.
Can I go by position?
Yeah. So you
That
can,
says thick.
wait. Filters, positions, and then so like.
What?
So if you're on Travis, let's just say you're on Travis Hunter here.
yeah, but
right?
I'm not though.
But you click on Travis Hunter and it pulls that back up.
What?
And then you just got to hit back and then go back to the
You broke it.
big board. PFF big
So I
board.
go like this.
I'm a huge component of PFF. They do a lot of analytical research.
Man, that's
and they
kick ass.
We don't even know what PFF is.
Pro Football Focus.
Yeah.
You're the one paying for ESPN. We don't want to hear it from you.
PFF.com.
Dude, this
Shout
is
out.
cool as shit.
Yeah. And obviously, like, if you pay for their subscriptions, you get so many different grades and stats and stuff.
What?
But third on my list is Jackson Dart. Some might say that's a little interesting. But Jackson Dart, I did not list off Shedeur's stats, by the way, or height and weight, but Shedeur is 215, 6'2", ran a 4.68. Jackson Dart is 225, 6'2", ran a 4.85. And his stats, 276 completions on 399 attempts, 69.2 completion rating. Completion percentage, 4,276 yards, 29 tutties, and 6 interceptions. You're getting a quality guy right there. And here's the problem in this draft. Because running backs are so huge, and
Yeah.
because offense and defensive line and quarterbacks and all that stuff, right? You have to think from the NFL perspective, we could see Jackson Dart falling to... It could be gone before you get to Pittsburgh, right? But he very well could be there at for Pittsburgh to take. Pittsburgh thinks they're going to take Jalen Milroe. Who knows if he's going to be there?
He'll be there.
So it'll be interesting. But I think Jackson Dart is honestly better than Milroe. Because
So does Terry.
I do believe that Milroe, we saw a little bit of a regression last year. I don't know if it's the coaching change with Nick Saban not being in the room or if it's more of a concern in the NFL. But that's kind of my thing. Jackson Dart, I do have at third above Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe is my number 4 quarterback here. He is also 6'2", 225, ran a 4.4 in the combine.
That's
I don't know
nasty work.
if combine or his pro day or whatever. So Let's go to Jalen Milroe. We say he had a down digression there. He threw more interceptions this past year, but 13 games obviously played, 205 for 324, a 63% completion rating. And he only threw for 2,834 yards, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That's where kind of the regression comes into play. In 2023, he threw about the same yardage, 2,839 yards, but had 23 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. So that touchdown and interception ratio,
Little off.
little off there. So, I mean, when you think about that, that's kind of my questions and concerns with Milroe is, do we see interceptions and decision-making affect him in the future, depending on whatever quarterback room he goes into? They say, oh, he's going to Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, he's going to sit behind Rodgers.
So if Rodgers comes into play, right? Because we don't know if Rodgers is... We don't.
It's
No
gonna
one even
happen.
knows where that dude's at right now.
He's on a darkness retreat,
So
probably.
irregardless, but if
Yeah,
Aaron
regardless.
Rodgers is there and Jalen Milroe sits behind Aaron Rodgers for years, soaks up everything that Rodgers, maybe you have a really good guy. Maybe you don't. My fifth guy on the list is none other
Don't.
than Will Howard.
Are you fucking with me?
Will Howard is my fifth.
Bias aside.
Bias aside. 235, 6'4", 485,
He
40.
He was just at Gruden's quarterback camp. Do you know what
Yes.
Gruden said about him? He reminds me of a younger Josh Allen.
This man, I'm not really going to pull the whole. I mean, we can talk about Kansas State, played 12 games, threw 2,600 yards in Kansas State, transferred to Ohio State this past year, huge upside, 308 completions for 423 attempts, 72.8 completion percentage there, 4,003 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So interceptions obviously concerned, but huge touchdown upside there. I'm not saying that and when I say he's the fifth best quarterback, you have to think there's so many other quality, the running backs, huge quality, tight ends, and huge depth. So he's not going in the first or second round. This could be a third round guy. But
Third or fourth.
I think the separation between the top four and everybody else is huge. I think you're only talking about really a 4 quarterback room. And outside of that, this is why I just have him at 5. But he's resilient, okay? Because you got to think. So from an Ohio State fan perspective and Ohio State player perspective, they lost to Michigan. That was how many years in a row, Sean? 3 years in a row, right? You lost at home. And it wasn't like a close loss. It was an absolute throttle of a loss. And Will Howard could have went in there and said, you know what? Forget it. Throw it away. We're playing in the playoffs, but forget it. Whatever. He didn't. He could have just said, I'm not playing. But he was like, nope, I have a purpose. I have a plan. I want to win this national championship. We only have 4 games, right? And I'm not saying that there aren't flaws in the guy. Right?
Well,
from a perspective of throwing interceptions and making decisions that probably aren't the best.
That's all I seen dude throw.
I'll give credit where credit's due. After the Michigan game, his road to the Natty was very impressive as far as who they went through.
I just have to say, he's not going to be a guy that's probably going to be your starter because he's just going to probably go into the 3rd or 4th round. But I do believe that given the right circumstances, let's just say that Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe are off the board by the time they get to Pittsburgh. Let's just say Pittsburgh drafts Will Howard, sits behind Aaron Rodgers. Both of them are more of a pocket passer. Will Howard can run when he has to, but isn't necessarily a runner. Sits behind Aaron Rodgers, learns from Aaron Rodgers. They both kind of throw the ball around. Who's to say that doesn't happen for Howard where he improves? in that scenario. But like I said, the top 4 are leaps and bounds ahead of Howard, but I do believe Howard does provide ability to learn the craft of the game and at least be resilient in the fact that he is going to have to compete to be either the starter or second.
Yeah, I'll give you that. After the top 4, there's a pretty significant fall off as far as quarterback goes.
So that's my top 5.
In that order, huh?
In that order. Cam Ward, Shadur, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, and then separation Will Howard.
Okay. I will get us rolling here on running backs. Obviously, number 1.
Well, whoa. Who would you have in your 5th place? Because you were a little taken back when I said Howard.
Well, yeah, because
I have someone else in mind I would probably flop him with. That's just me, is Kyle McCord.
Oh.
the Honda McCord?
Honda McCord? I think he's worse than Will Howard, but okay.
Preach.
Oh.
What about Tyler Shuck?
He shook.
Well, okay, so I had to go look at names because I wasn't the one, researching
Yes.
QBs. But I would say Riley Leonard over Will Howard. I don't know, man. Tape to tape, I see him as similar, but I think I like Notre Dame guy better. That's just me.
Okay. All right, well, go ahead with your running backs because we know who's number 1 there.
Yeah, we know number 1. Obviously, we got Genty. Dude's such a dog. I'm going to have you help me track this thing because this is cool.
Yeah.
So he played 14 games, 375 attempts for 2,595 yards.
Mm-hmm.
The average yards per attempt was 6.9, 29 touchdowns. He got 23 receptions from 33 targets for 138 yards on the ground. Dude's just a fucking monster, okay? There's not much more than really needs to be said about him.
I think the biggest thing to say about Genty is you pulled the stats up there. Look at the difference between the running yards between last season and 2023 season and 2024. Now, granted, he had receiving yards down,
Yes.
but his
a hell of a lot less targets, too.
But his running production went through the roof.
He almost doubled his yardage. He more than doubled his touchdowns. And good Lord, like that man's unstoppable.
I think when you talk about Genty, if you are in a dynasty league, I don't even care what your need is in the position. Like if you need a quarterback, cool, go get him in the 2nd round of your rookie draft.
Yeah.
But don't pass on the opportunity to have Ashton Genty on your roster because we all know I like to trade, right?
Yes, you do.
Could you imagine having Ashton Genty 2 to 3 years from now if he is like constantly the number like in the top 5 running backs and you're like, you know what, I'm going to flip him. I drafted this guy 3 years ago. He went, let's just say running back 5, running back 2, running back 3. And you're like, I could go get a haul for Ashton Genty. So if he's number 1 on your list and you're the first draft pick, you're stupid not to take him.
What? Okay, so let me pose this question. What if Travis Hunter was confirmed to play all wide receiver full
I
time?
still think Genty is your better bet because I think, and we can talk about Hunter later on, but I think Genty has that it factor. And that's when you talk about guys in the NFL right now, because the NFL is realizing, teams are realizing how pivotal running backs are based off this past season.
Yes.
Saquon, thank you
Right?
for bringing the market back.
Because it wasn't like 2 years ago we were talking about nobody needs running backs anymore. You might as well just run all wide receivers in your fantasy roster.
Yep.
And then we saw the resurgence of running backs this past year. Mm-hmm. You have a guy that has the it factor, you gotta go get him.
Especially because for a fantasy aspect, running backs are hard to find. They really are. Because unless you have, 2 of the top 15, 20 guys, like you're scrambling. Mm-hmm. Who do I play at my running back spot next week? Because they're either going to get you 16 points or 6 points. And it's like, There's no type of consistency. I would rather be like, all right, what wideout do I run versus what running back do I run? For sure, for a fantasy aspect.
Yeah, I'd rather have running backs week in, week out that I can just put in there and
Yep.
leave there
Don't even have to
and
look
not
at
worry
it.
about them.
Yep. Like, unless they're going up against a hell of a matchup, you know? But yeah. My number 2 is Omarion Hampton. I did some research, looked at some film of this guy after I've heard a couple people talk about how much they liked him. And I like him as well. Last year's stats, he played 12 games, 281 attempts, 1660 on the ground, 5.9 per attempt. And he had 15 touchdowns, 38 receptions from 43 targets. Very good target share there. Catching ability, obviously, is telling me that he's NFL ready as a pass catching running back. Dude's just elusive.
Yeah, that tells me he's a 3-down back.
Yeah, absolutely. He's playing. If the offense is on the field and he's got gas left in the tank, he's going to be out there. Honestly, enough said. I think dude is just. He's on it. I think he's just on it. Yeah, my third spot. Let me open this up here. I got Judkins. I like Judkins over a lot of the other guys. Let me pull him up here on PFF. He had 16 games played. And his stats are different because he was sharing the ball with Trayvon Henderson. So don't hold that against him too much. 193 attempts for just over 1,000 yards, 1,060 to be exact, 5.5 per attempt, 14 touchdowns with 22 receptions for 26 targets. I mean, that's telling me dude's a stud, right? He's telling me everything I need to know. He's ready for NFL at the pass catching level. That's a huge thing for fantasy, for one, and for two, just to have that option. Like, you're Derrick Henry, right? He's not a very good pass catching running back. Obviously, you love to have him. He's one of the best running backs the NFL's ever seen. But you're kind of limited with him. He's not as versatile. Yeah, he can block, so you can put him in a pass play, but he's not a threat to go out there. So, I'm there. So, on the other side of that, I got his teammate. I got Henderson next. And pulling up his stats, he had way more yards per attempt. So he had 145 attempts for 1,010 yards with 7 yards per attempt. So 0.1 better than Genty. Call that the same thing. And he had 10 touchdowns, 26 receptions, 30 targets. Statistically, I would say Henderson's a little bit better. Statistically. But watching the tape, I see myself liking Judkins a little more. Preacher, I would love to have your input because these are your guys.
Yeah.
But that is how I have them. I have Judkins first. PFF does not as well.
PFF actually doesn't even have them
They're not in their top five.
I guess my question to you is, do you like the quick, more of the jet sweep approach to Judkins over Henderson because he's got that speed faster?
I think that's what it is.
I think if you're looking in a fantasy perspective for either one of these two players, you really have a good running back. And one of the things that I believe that kind of sets Judkins and Henderson apart from not necessarily the Omarion Hampton and the Ashton Genty, but a lot of the rest of the other players in this draft. You have two guys that have learned to share the backfield.
Yes, and that's a huge thing at the NFL level.
And so they've had to make plays when they come onto the field, where the rest of these guys, and a lot of them, it's been just them. And, you look at games where Ohio State didn't throw the ball very well. They were still able to run the ball. Outside of that Michigan game, which really was just a collapse of the whole entire team. But those two guys were able to almost feed off of each other.
Yeah.
One's like, oh, I got this. The other one's like, actually, I got to go do this. Because they realized that both of them are going for the NFL and have to show that they're better than the other one for their own personal sake.
Right.
But from a team perspective, you got two guys that are working together to be the best that they can be. And Henderson's got more of that power approach to him, where Judkins has more of that end around speed.
Yeah. I think at the NFL level, that matters more.
Right. But I do believe that I'm not saying this is my mock draft by any sort of imagination.
Yeah, it's next week.
I know. But a little tease here. What if Judkins... Actually, no, let's go Henderson. What if Travion Henderson goes to a very new, improved offensive line in Chicago? Whoa, Siri.
Take it easy, Siri.
Take
What the
it
hell is
easy.
going on here?
Jeez. Hey, get out of here.
You act like
No.
it's your spotlight.
No.
Why are we FaceTiming somebody?
It's froze.
I don't even know. Nobody.
We're not calling anyone, Siri.
One
know
thing I
what?
will bring up while Preach is figuring that
Son
out.
of a...
Judkins is more than capable of carrying the load by himself. Because if we remember his 2 years at Ole Miss, he was literally all they had.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about 1,500 yards as a freshman.
That's wild.
Yeah, almost 1,200 yards the next year. Then he transferred to Ohio State. So, and I like the factor that this past year playing with Henderson took some of the wear and tear off of his body.
For sure.
That's
Yeah.
a big thing.
Yeah. And like I said, like that's a huge thing going to the NFL where they're going to be
That's why they
drafting
run the
guys.
two-back
Right.
system.
Right.
Right. So you're going to get a guy that's already familiar with the two-back system that can play the ball already. And I think it's a win-win. So what are we on to number 5 on your list
Yeah,
here?
number 5, I got Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. Like I said, I watched tape. Dude's a dog. He played 13 games, 258 attempts, 1,488 yards, 5.8 yards per attempt, 22 touchdowns, 20 receptions, 25 targets. He was another one of them guys. It was just, you watch him play, you can tell he's going to be a star. You can tell in the right system, on the right team, that dude is just going to go lights out, you know?
He's fast.
And I can say that about every one of these guys in my top 10, in my opinion. It's just, I can't find anything bad about him. You know?
I do have to say, so at that Ohio State game, that was one of the biggest concerns was him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He didn't play much. I believe he ended up having a concussion. I want to say he had a concussion. But he came into that game, and I knew that was going to be one of the biggest keys to Tennessee beating Ohio State was able to run the ball to open up the pass game. But you're getting a really, really solid player. You're getting a guy that is going to be able to play very physical, but also very kind of technical too. Like he's going to be able to play in different scenarios, different schemes, and that's going to be a really good moving forward. Now, I do have to ask the question. Do you have a 6th guy on this list or just
I have
5?
10.
Whoa. Okay. Well,
So I'm probably not going to go through all 10.
just want to rattle the names off of the 10.
So
I need
got-
to know where one guy is at.
So at my 6th spot, I have, I believe it's Tutton, Bayshul Tutton. He's extremely underrated in my opinion.
Okay.
I liked what I saw out of the combine from him.
Fast.
Very fast,
That boy
strong
is-
legs, and I've really enjoyed what I saw. He is very low ranked on PFF, but I didn't forget about him.
Okay.
At my 7, I have Bam Bam Cam Scatterboo.
That's who I was wondering.
Dude
Are you going to take
is
him
a
at the
dog.
1-4?
I'm taking him at the 2-1.
Oh, okay.
Unless I can get Gil to take this
At the
trade.
1-2?
Have you talked to Gil lately?
No.
Oh, the trade for...
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he hasn't
It's getting
done anything?
wild. Anyway,
Have you put a timer on it yet?
He did Saturday. I was waiting to see it accepted.
Yeah, he
I was
didn't-
going to get AJ Brown.
He didn't even open it until Sunday. Anyway,
Oh,
number 8,
okay.
Caleb Johnson.
Okay.
Number 9, I got a Bulldog, Trevor Etienne. I like him.
Ugh.
I like him. I don't know if it's because, I'm on the bandwagon and I got to rep my boys. I don't know. But I looked up the tape, man. I liked him. And number 10, I didn't do as much research on him. I did watch one little highlight reel. Jordan James.
Fat, lightning quick, boy.
I liked him, for sure. He impressed me.
Don't let him get outside.
Well, So you're saying that if he's at Lambeau Field, he's going to be great, but if he's at Ford Field,
Outside.
oh,
I don't need him in Green Bay. We already have enough.
Green Bay's taking a wide out anyway.
Yeah, according to their stuff, we're taking a Buka.
I get that, but yeah, PFF has their ratings a little different than I have mine, and you know what? That's okay. I'm okay with that. So I guess that wraps up my running back list.
Shonomack.
Where do you want me to go first?
Wide receivers down the list, baby.
Come on now. The thing everyone's about to, they're begging to hear it.
Travis Hunter.
Yes, number 1, absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
Is it because he did his pro day with no gloves on?
Nasty, boy.
Dude, 'cause I'm not going to lie.
He don't need fucking...
He's got a stickum on his hands, huh?
No.
Dude.
That's just God-given talent.
That boy's nasty.
You don't
some
need
of that
gloves.
Gorilla Glue.
Did you see them fucking routes he was running at his pro day, dude?
Nasty
Did you
work.
see his footwork?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Now, time out here. Does that mean you would take him?
Yes.
Okay. If you needed a wideout, are you taking him at your 1-1 in a fantasy draft in a dynasty?
If he was committed full-time playing wideout,
We don't know.
We don't
that.
know.
That's the problem.
that's the question I posed earlier. I said if he was committed.
If he was only gonna play wideout, I would change my list and have him at 1 for sure. But since he's not, and there's still that question, I'm gonna grab somebody else, man.
God, I don't want him to wind up in Cleveland, dude.
Why
Why
not?
not?
Kenny Pickett?
Because anyone that goes to fucking Cleveland, dude,
Okay, no, I see where he's going. He's saying if you go to Cleveland, your career goes down the shitter.
it's a shit show there.
You don't shit after you flush, preacher.
And sometimes
What
it hits
the
a second
hell?
time. What if you got a
Anyway.
double flush?
Let me pull my wide ups up on PFF.
I have
Okay.
a question for you.
Hashtag wipe it.
So, does it concern you in throughout this past season where he's had the ability that he's not been utilized at all in the passing attempt? Because there have been plenty of games where he wasn't really
Utilized?
utilized at
Right.
all.
That's
but when he
coaching.
was,
Play
he showed what he's got. God, dog it. Oh, sorry.
That was odd.
That was
It was weird.
What?
anyhow.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
My number 2 is Luther Burden.
Yeah, dog.
He's a straight dog,
dog.
dude.
He's a dog.
Straight dog.
So I think I'll go through I made a list of 10. I'll go through all 10, but I'm just going to do the stats for the top 5 and just rattle
Kinda
off
like
names
what I
you
did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got Luther Burden, dog,
Dog.
preach.
Dog.
What say you?
Last year, guys, he played 12 games, played 306 snaps, played 261 of them out of the slot.
Ooh.
Played 36 wide snaps, had 61 catches out of 81 targets, 676 yards for 6 touchdowns.
You know them stats are
The numbers
very
don't
underwhelming.
jump off the
It's
board,
the eye
but
test. I
Yes.
get it. Trust me, I fucking get that.
my number 3, guys, I mean, might be different from yours, but Matthew Golden.
He's in my top for sure.
So you're talking about a guy, right?
So here's a guy.
Yeah.
Here's a guy.
I don't like PFF's overall grade on him. I think it should be a little bit higher, maybe even 80, but not 74.
Okay.
Ooh, that is a little low.
So Golden played 16 games, right? Almost 500 snaps, 494 to be exact. Out of the slot, he's not a slot guy because he's too,
He's too fast.
He stretches the field. He played 118 out of the slot and 376 wide.
That sounds about a quarter of the time he's in the slot. That still ain't bad numbers.
Had 58 catches for 83 out of 83 targets, almost 1,000 yards. So he ended up with 987 and 17 yards per reception.
That's nasty work.
Yep.
That's a hell of a number.
And 9 touchdowns. I mean, this dude is blazing
I'll tell you though, them stats still aren't jumping off the page.
But I mean, if you want a guy to stretch the field, here's your guy.
Yeah, I agree.
He's got great hands, great size. He's going to go day one for sure. Where we
Next
don't know.
week. Anyway,
Number 4 is Tet McMillan.
which is a lot of people's number one.
It is, but he is falling rather quickly. Out of a lot of mocks I've seen. So real quick, let's go. Here's what he did last year. He played 12 games, 485 snaps, 105 of them were out of the slot, 379 wide, 84 catches, 130 targets, 1,300 yards, and 8 touchdowns. But that's what he did. He makes the long ball.
Yeah.
And his hands are so, I mean, any circus catch, he's coming down with it.
But
His length is great. He's really, really tall. And he's athletic.
I've heard a lot of people say that he's falling because he leaves a lot of plays on the field. Have you heard that same thing, Preach?
I have. I think when you look, so McMillan for me is a great football player, may not be the best fantasy move. Because a lot of guys that fall into the long ball, touchdown or nothing guy, they could be a very high ceiling, but they could be a very low. You know,
Like Jamar
the
Chase
floor.
over the past
Yeah.
couple years, not including last season.
The floor could be extremely low. And so when you're talking about a top 4, top 5 guy, you have to look at where did they go?
Yes.
Where's the positional room? Because let's just say if not that he's going to be there, but let's just use Green Bay for instance. Is this it?
Yes.
Anyhow,
Ass.
but I'm going to use Green Bay for a lot of
Okay.
these players in general. There is not a clear-cut number one. So if he goes there,
No.
right? We don't say, right? But if he goes there, he might have the ability to make the plays that need to be made to have a higher ceiling in fantasy football. Does that make sense?
It do.
Because there isn't that clear-cut number one. But if he goes to, let's just say,
Come on.
Detroit, where there's clearly a clear-cut number one and a clear-cut number two, he's not going to be utilized as much from a fantasy perspective because that room's already enough.
So what you're saying is he needs to go to the Chargers with Herbert.
Yes.
So McConkey can take the middle of the field stuff and he can stretch the field on the outside.
Yes, essentially.
I mean,
That's what I just
you're-
heard.
you're
Because
talking-
Quentin Brickhands Johnston.
You're talking about a kid that's 6'5", 215.
He's literally Mike Evans.
Correct.
He's Mike Evans size. That's Big Mike. That's my boy. Fuck out of here.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh, okay.
My bad. We got a little out of my gourd there. Who's next up?
Number 5.
Sean Mack.
Number 5. My number 5 is. I wrote their school down next to his. I wrote shit state.
That would be
I
a
did.
Mecca.
I didn't just write. I
Abuka?
did that Saturday.
A Mecca
Yes.
Abuka.
Yes.
Let's go.
You know, I'll tell you what, Sean does love one thing in the NFL, and that is OSU players, boy.
Yeah, that is right.
Bro,
Hey.
you are in love with OSU players the
Preach.
second they put on a regular uniform.
That's
Chris
wild.
Olave,
CJ Stroud,
Stroud,
Nick Bosa.
Marvin Harrison Jr., now Emeka Buka. You probably like Travion Henderson.
I
and
like
Quinshon
Henderson
Judkins.
and Judkins. He's secretly loving Will Howard right now.
Sean's dynasty is 6 out of 8 starting lineup for XY.
I have Marvin Harrison.
He loves Garrett Wilson.
Oh, he had
Garrett
he also
Wilson.
had J.K. Dobbins
he
too.
did.
I got Dobbins now with Marvin Harrison.
Yeah. Ohio State
Dude, it's
fanboy.
insane.
That's fucking wild, bro.
That's what we're literally saying. Are you gonna read some stats from?
I am. Preach. Can you take this one? Because I fucked mine all up.
Oh,
What about Emeka Buka? Don't you know?
I know he's a slot receiver. If he plays out of the slot, he's gonna be a dog.
dog.
He played 16 games, 423 snaps, 314
found it.
343 out of the slot, 70 wide, 81 receptions on 106 targets, 1,011 yards for an average of 12.5 and 10 touchdowns.
Yep, I'm getting him.
So he's primarily a slot receiver.
Yes.
for
Yes,
sure.
yes, very much the slot guy.
So I'm looking. I know exactly where I want him to land. I won't say it. But
Houston.
No. But if we're going to name teams, I'll just say it. He needs to go to the Jaguars for sure. They just lost Kurt.
With
Brian. Oh my
Brian
God.
Thomas.
That's some nasty motherfucking work. Hashtag holler at your boy.
Touchdown Jesus
Oh.
would be proud.
The Jags are going defense. They're getting Mason Graham.
They're not.
Who says he's going to be like?
He's not a first
They
round
picked
pick.
Emeka
5.
Buka is probably a second round
They
guy.
picked 5.
Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Yes.
Buka's a second round guy. There's no way he's going.
Ibuka's going first round.
No way. No
you,
way.
He will be day one, Preach. I promise.
There's no way.
Hashtag book that.
Brendan?
Ha-
No, what do you say?
Oh, hell yeah.
Is he going day one?
You know what? I see Jags popping back into round 1 to get him if so. 'Cause
Emeka
they would
Buka
not take him at 5.
Goes day one to Houston. That's going to be nasty if he reunites with CJ.
Wait a second. So they're gonna have a room full of Sean. Are you gonna be a Texans fan?
Are the Houston
Wasn't-
Texans just literally Ohio State 2.0?
Well, that and what isn't Nico from Michigan?
Nico's
Yes!
from Michigan.
So you're gonna absolutely love that fucking team.
Buka's from Ohio State.
Cade Stover.
Kate Stover's from Ohio State.
Oh my God!
He's
CJ
about to
Stroud
be
from
a
Ohio
fucking
State.
Texan fanboy.
Hey, it works. Look what Philly did with Georgia.
How about them dogs?
I don't know. Ibuka's mine.
Hashtag fire up the bandwagon.
Who's that coming down the tracks?
We know I love that slot receiver on my fantasy teams, man.
All right, man, come on. Who's number 6?
So number 6 is the not so much
speed demon.
not so much talked about because of his teammate Isaiah Bond out of Texas. My sleeper is going to make a lot of noise in the league. Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. Then his teammate Jalen Knoll. The guy I think you like, or one of you guys liked, was Jack Beck out of TCU.
That's the guy that balled out in the Senior Bowl, right?
Yes.
That's me for sure.
And then a dog, dude. He reminds me of Plexico Burst, if you guys remember him playing.
I do.
Trey Harris from Ole Miss.
So
an absolute dog.
one thing about Jack Beck, if you don't mind. So if you look at players that have dominated in the Senior Bowl, I can only remember one off the top of my head, but it was Puka Nacua. Taken very late in the draft. But he came in there and was instant playmaker. And there's been multiple before him that were the same way. When you see players of any position, especially wide out though, absolutely dominate players that are going into the league as well, instant playmakers. It's happened time and time again.
Oh.
Look it up. I did, but I just don't remember anybody right now. I'm sorry. Hashtag brain fart.
Shocker.
Hashtag.
Oh,
Damn.
anyhow.
Anyway, so we went through QB, we went through running back, we went through wideout. Now, unfortunately for Sean, there's only one more fantasy
Let's go.
thing to go through. So I think let's get tight end out of the way. And then maybe a part 2 to cover the O-line and then all of defense, maybe? Because our fantasy listeners are going to be tuning out after that anyway.
That's true. Well, I mean, we definitely can hit a part 2 up.
I enjoy that. What about
part
you,
2?
Sean? You thinking like a little part 2 after you get
I
done
was
with
getting
tight
ready to
ends?
shout out tight ends.
Yeah, I said after tight ends. You scumbag.
Oh, yeah.
It's my favorite button.
I really wish I would have put that button in there.
Well, we still need the dogs.
No, could you imagine if I did the go get some help?
Yeah, we need that because the go get some help is gonna go right here. We don't even use that fucking dumbass thing.
Anyhow, Sean,
Sean, tight ends.
Yes, let's go. It's deep. If you need a tight end, this is your year to get one, guys. You can get them late in the rounds, too.
You probably get him in 4th round too.
But you can get them after the first, besides my first 2 guys.
Okay.
Obviously, we know who that is. It's Tyler Warren
Oh,
out of Penn State. And
we are.
what's that?
We are.
Ooh,
We are Penn State. Is that
Penn-
the thing?
I
Yeah.
hope not.
Yeah. They
That's
usually
their
like
thing?
they're like we are, and then people are like
We
Penn
are, we
State.
are.
No.
The youth of the
No.
nations.
No. No.
Pete. OD.
We are, we are.
The youth of the nation.
Can we just not?
Okay, so
Fun fact about POD: they sing Rey Mysterio's theme song.
Preach.
Fun
Yes.
fact. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Sean.
Let's bust through.
We ain't busting nowhere.
We've been here for 48 minutes. We ain't
Jesus.
going anywhere. Go ahead.
He's gonna be like Gronk, man.
Ooh.
Oh.
You're saying the rack ability is phenomenal.
Yes. So check this out. He's got a 91 grade. Played the 16 games, 486 snaps he played. Pass snaps he played. Inline snaps was 161. The slot snaps was 230. What?
Keep going.
Go ahead.
Keep reading.
Go ahead.
Out loud.
Why?
Keep reading out
Keep
loud.
going.
Just keep going.
Receptions are 104. 104 catches out of 135 targets, 1,230 yards, and 8 touchdowns.
Pause. He has better stats than almost every single wideout
Yes.
that you mentioned.
Yeah.
So is he another Laporta, a Bowers, a McBride? So you're telling me there's another absolute all-star tight end coming. So the tight end position, especially for fantasy purposes, is now back. Because if you didn't have Kelsey, Andrews, or Kittle, it was basically good luck.
Yes.
a couple
Find
years
what you can
ago,
find.
remember? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And last year really showed that there was multiple good options. Because I want to say, Preacher, it was you that said if you don't have a top 5 tight end,
You
it doesn't
ship-
matter who you put
Yeah.
there.
It ships. You ship it.
Yep,
like-
ship it. See ya.
Ship it.
Get lucky on a touchdown this week,
that's
blah, blah, blah.
that's what I did with Njoku. Remember when we did our redraft?
Yeah.
Where it was tight end, tight end, tight end, tight end, tight end, and by the time it got back to me,
There was none
there
left.
was nothing
so you
left. So I just said forget, and then 3 rounds later, I took Njoku.
So I'm going to throw something crazy at you guys. Do you think it'd be nuts if you took a tight end in the middle of the first round? Just because,
I don't.
right. But now is there so many that you don't have to waste that kind of pick?
You know,
It's kind of a double-edged sword here because we remember a couple years ago in the first round, you took Kelsey. You didn't even have to think about it because he put out wide-out numbers every week. And round 2, you came around, and someone was taking Andrews or Kittle. It was fucking simple. So now that we've got all these other tight ends, does that hurt their draft stock? Or does it help their draft stock?
It helps them.
You think so?
Yep.
So you think we're going to see pretty much the top 10 tight ends next year gone in the first 4 rounds then.
Yeah, for sure.
No shit.
I think if you're talking from a redraft perspective,
Right. Depending on if it's
Depending-
dynasty or redraft.
a redraft.
I think in a redraft, there's 2 ways you can play it. One's the running back position, or 2 is the tight end. Because if you let's just say you have pick one, let's just say you're picking 6 in your league, and it's a 12-man league.
yeah.
Barkley's off the board, Henry's off the board, Justin Jefferson's off the board, Jamar Chase is off the board, and let's just say
CD Lamb's
Lamb's off the board, right? So
You're not going to justify taking any of them tight ends over Bijan Gibbs. Bijan Gibbs. Let me see here. Amon-Ra.
No, because when I said yes to that, I thought we were talking about the rookies in like a dynasty
rookie
league?
draft. Yeah, I mean, a dynasty league, I wouldn't have a problem.
That's what I thought we were talking
especially if I'm mid round. I mean, you got to think. So let's just say you're
Just filling gaps.
Well, let's use the
yeah.
same perspective. Like you're the 6 picks in a dynasty league rookie draft. Judkins is off the board. All the big running
Genty,
backs,
Judkins, Hunter,
Hampton.
Ted.
Hampton are off the board. Are you going to go get a wideout that may not be producing numbers instantly, or are you going to take
A tight end
a tight end that's going to instantly play? Look at
tough.
Brock Bowers this year,
Dude.
right?
Nasty,
Look at Brock Bowers.
nasty work.
So, go ahead. Let's get to number 2 because we'll be here all night.
No, we won't.
Oh,
That's why we're doing a part 2.
that's right. Part 2 coming up next.
Number 2
Not next.
is my favorite.
It is?
Yes.
Yeah, from that terrible college up north.
Colston Loveland.
Sibling rivalry.
So Colston's 85 overall. He played in 10 games. He had the injury. 231 pass snaps. Inline snaps is 75. Out of the slot was 110. 56 catches out of 82 targets, 582 yards, and 5 touchdowns. But I watched the past 3 years. Fast for his size. Can get open. He's got great hands. Can win he's tall. He can win the high throw. Come down with it. Great route runner. Great blocker.
So are you saying in tight ends, there's pretty much top 2, and then the others are pretty
Just
close?
like quarterbacks. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, because his stats are half, literally,
Right.
of Warren. So, stats are not everything, as we've said earlier. But that is kind of concerning that Tyler Warren has quite literally doubled him in almost everything.
Yeah.
I do want to make a point that J.J. McCarthy absence didn't, on paper, really didn't make a difference because of the fact that Colston didn't play all season this past year. I've heard that some people have said, this is like Twitter people, not really relevant Twitter people, but Twitter people have said that it's just because JJ passed him the ball over the field, over the middle. Because if you look at the breakdown of JJ and Michigan, they played a lot of tight end over the middle, short passing, kind of like that 5 to 10, 10 to 15 yarder over the middle of the field because he was able to make space and time. But from a stat perspective, in 2023 with JJ it was 649, and in 2024 it was 582. So not really
Not
not really a
significant.
differential there. So I mean he's a stud.
So you're debunking them.
Yeah, debunking them for sure.
My number 3 guy's local kid out of Bowling Green.
Let's
Bowling
go.
Green University, BGU.
So yeah, you're talking.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a kid that's 6'4", 230 pounds, running like a tailback.
What's his name?
Harold Fannin Jr. Just a beast. Size, blocking. He's got it all. He's going to go day 2. Day 3, maybe. I'd like to see him go day 2. I think that'd be dope.
His grade is higher than Warren.
Yes.
Is it not? Wow.
So look, okay, so you're talking about a kid that
Here's
played.
a guy.
20 years ago.
You're talking. So this kid played.
Go ahead.
This kid played 13 games last year, almost 500 snaps, 439. So inline snaps was 168, slot snaps was 139, 117 catches.
That doesn't add up to 439. I can do math.
Okay, we'll get back to that. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold that. So this kid had 117 catches out of 150 targets. Great hands.
1,500 yards.
1,500 yards and 10 tutties.
So you're telling me that's like a sleeper, but the stats say he's not. But
I
he's-
don't know what you're sleeping. Everyone knows about Harold Fanning.
Okay, all right. Take it easy.
Well, not everybody, but I mean, if you watch Combine or you watch MAC football,
Or you paid for Mel Kiper's ESPN subscription.
Damn.
so yeah.
Okay, all right.
So my next one is Elijah Arroyo out of Miami.
Okay. Cam Ward's favorite target or what?
Yes.
Okay.
So when you talk about Miami, there he is.
You found him.
So here's a kid that's got a 71 overall grade. Played in 13 games, 420 pass snaps.
Blaze it. Right?
Inline was 165. Slot was 216.
Yeah, that still doesn't add up to 420.
35 receptions out of 47 targets, 590 in yards.
That
Touched
average is way
7
through the
tutties.
roof.
But here, his stats don't jump out at you. But here, this kid he's like a Kittle as far as when it comes to blocking.
You've mentioned blocking in almost every single one of these guys.
All these,
So you're telling me these
all
tight
these
ends
tight
are-
ends are great blockers.
They're ready to get fucking down and dirty. But that average yards per reception is nasty. 16.9.
Right. What do you think I'm
is
saying?
gross, dude.
Right.
That's some nasty work. Hashtag dirty hands, clean money.
So my number 5 is Gunnar Helm.
And he plays for who?
He plays for Texas.
Texas.
Yeah. He don't
That
have,
grade is low. buddy.
he does have a low grade, but I mean, when you want to talk about getting the job done, you go to this kid. He played in 16 games, right? 609 pass snaps, right? 416 in line, and it was 134 slot. 60 receptions out.
They want you to pay for another subscription, probably. So just go ahead and put in your credit card information.
You already pay $11.99 for ESPN.
So Gunnar had 60 catches for 73 out of 73 targets, 786 yards, and 7 touchdowns. I mean, this kid is big. He'll get it done. He'll do the dirty work.
You gotta love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're tight end. You want animals. You want people that like need to have contact. That's what you want from your tight ends.
He don't shy away from it. He looks for it.
I love
love
Let's
that.
go.
Love that.
So rounding it off, Mason Taylor out of LSU. Seems like, I mean, if you were a pass catcher in LSU, you're just destined to be good.
It's very true.
Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon, and then my final one was Mitchell Evans.
Let's go.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. That's a personal let's go. One of my best friends, it's her cousin.
What?
Yeah, so. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah.
That's cool as shit, dude. Like a first cousin?
I believe it, yeah, it's first.
That's awesome.
that's like when I met Max and Hook.
You did? No way.
Yes. Do you know who that is?
Who the fuck is that?
Safety out of Toledo. He was at because my niece's husband. I remember I went to her wedding or her reception.
Yeah.
He's a tight end for Toledo, and there's a couple draft prospects there at the reception.
What?
Awesome.
That's sick as
They
fuck.
they actually just got back. That was like they had literally just got back from the combine.
That's sweet.
That's sick as fuck, dude.
That's sweet.
And I couldn't go to this reception.
Yeah.
It was in Columbus.
You didn't even
didn't
take a
tell
bridesmaid
us?
home?
So I got cornerbacks too. So Will Johnson.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's part 2. We're already
Yeah.
at an hour.
Yeah. So
So basically, this is the fantasy episode. If you're just looking for, because your team needs defense, come see us in part 2.
We got a Michigan guy, number 1.
Hold on.
hold the phone.
Anyway, that's us, the Gridiron Goons. We'll see you in part 2. This is your episode.